If we're talking about limitless in your everyday life, one of the things that you want to do is actually look at what your limits are. Because so many of your limits are actually hidden in your subconscious mind. And that's why they keep popping up, is because if you were aware of what your limits are and also knew how to work around them and go beyond them so that they weren't limits anymore, you probably would have already done that, right? I don't think people like to stay in their limits. Most people want to go beyond them, but they just don't know how. And they've gotten to the point where they've tried so many things, or they're so frustrated that they might give up, or they might get to the point where they're frustrated and feel like banging their head against a wall going, why does this keep showing up? So if you're in a place where you've got some sort of limit going on in your world, whether it's self-doubt, self-judgment, you want to create more money and you can't seem to create more money, you create, relationships that aren't that great, or you keep attracting the same kind of people, anything that keeps showing up that is undesirable, there's a limit there. There's a limit to what you can create and what you can receive. So one of the things you can do is actually just start journaling. Write down, like, what are my limits? And just start writing. Take about 15 minutes and just keep going and keep going and keep going until you write it all out, because what'll come out is your unconscious. The things that are in your unconscious will start to come out on that pen. The little voices in your head that you try to negate or pretend aren't there, but you're actually listening to, will start to show up on the paper. So if you've ever been on a street that has a pothole, right? You go down that street every day and you know where the pothole is, and the first time you hit it, the second time you sort of hit it, and the third time you're like, I got this, right? And then every time you go down that street, you avoid the pothole, right? Well, this is the same thing we want to do with these limits, is we actually want to identify what they are, how they're working in your world, so that you can circumnavigate them. And I think this is the place where people want to bypass. They just want to clear the energy. They just want to go beyond it and have the problem totally solved, the limit totally gone. And that doesn't usually work. The reason that is because you created that and you've been living your life with that limit, and you've been that level of consciousness in your life. And if you just want to take it away, you've got to actually add something else in there. So if you just take it away, then sort of there's this gap. And when you're working with it and when you're going, oh, this is what it is, you can start to look at, how do I get out of this? How do I get around this? And start building those neural pathways and those energetic pathways to choose something different, right? To not go back into that pitfall, okay? And if you don't do that, I see people over and over and over where they think they cleared it, they thought they had the answer, they thought they had the magic pill, the miracle, the whatever, and then boom, they go right back into it. So my recommendation is to get a pad of paper and just start writing out your limits. Start writing out, how do they affect you? Start writing out what actually gets you into that. How do you feel when you have that limit? And start to identify them, because this is the work that everybody seems to want to avoid because it seems so hard and it seems so difficult, but actually it's one of the most beneficial things you can do for yourself.